For decades, the United States and the European Union stood as pillars of the transatlantic alliance, fostering economic collaboration, security cooperation, and diplomatic ties. This partnership was built on shared values, military agreements through NATO, and mutual economic interests that ensured the Western Bloc remained influential on the global stage. However, in recent years, this seemingly unshakable alliance has been tested by growing disputes over tariffs, trade policies, and economic strategies. The introduction of protectionist policies has created fractures within the relationship, raising concerns about the future of Western unity. The foundation of these tensions can be traced back to economic disagreements that have long simmered beneath the surface. The imposition of tariffs on imports from the European Union by the United States, under the banner of protecting domestic industries, has sent shockwaves through international markets. American leaders argue that these measures are necessary to counteract what they perceive as unfair trade practices by European nations, citing trade imbalances and the need to safeguard American jobs. However, European policymakers view these actions as an economic provocation and have responded with their own set of countermeasures. The European Union, recognizing the potential economic harm caused by US tariffs, has not hesitated to retaliate. Brussels has implemented tax hikes on American imports, targeting industries that play a vital role in the US economy. This strategic counterattack is aimed at pressuring Washington to reconsider its approach, signaling that Europe is not willing to be pushed into economic submission. But instead of de-escalating the situation, these measures have further fueled the ongoing trade war, leaving businesses and consumers caught in the crossfire. The consequences of this economic standoff are far-reaching. Supply chains that once flowed seamlessly between the US and Europe are now facing disruptions, driving up costs for companies and consumers alike. Industries that heavily rely on transatlantic trade, such as automotive manufacturing, steel production, and agriculture, are witnessing declining revenues due to increased tariffs and trade restrictions. American manufacturers who export goods to Europe are struggling to maintain competitiveness in the face of rising costs, while European exporters are encountering similar obstacles in the US market. Beyond the immediate economic ramifications, the broader geopolitical implications of this dispute cannot be ignored. The transatlantic alliance has historically been a key force in global stability, particularly in addressing common threats such as military conflicts, terrorism, and economic crises. If economic disagreements continue to erode trust between these long-standing allies, it could impact their ability to cooperate on critical security issues. NATO, which has long served as the cornerstone of Western defense, could face challenges if economic hostility translates into political discord. Public sentiment on both sides of the Atlantic is also shifting. In Europe, citizens are increasingly questioning whether the United States remains a reliable partner, given its aggressive economic policies. Meanwhile, in the US, political rhetoric portraying Europe as a competitor rather than an ally is gaining traction. This divergence in perspectives could lead to a realignment of international relations, with the European Union seeking greater economic independence from the United States while exploring alternative trade partnerships. One of the most contentious aspects of this dispute is the argument surrounding national security. The US administration has justified its tariffs by claiming that reliance on foreign steel and aluminum undermines national defense capabilities. By imposing trade barriers, they argue, the country is ensuring that critical industries remain robust and capable of supporting military needs. However, the European Union sees this reasoning as a mere pretext for protectionist policies, dismissing it as economic manipulation disguised as security concerns. This debate over national security versus economic strategy highlights the complex interplay between economic policies and geopolitical strategy. As tensions escalate, both sides must consider the long-term consequences of their actions. A continued trade war could weaken both economies, reduce global market stability, and create opportunities for emerging powers such as China to expand their influence. China, which has been closely monitoring the rift between the US and Europe, stands to benefit from a divided Western world. By strengthening its trade relations with Europe and positioning itself as a more stable economic partner, China could reshape global trade dynamics in its favor. Despite these challenges, there are paths toward resolution. High-level diplomatic negotiations, comprehensive trade agreements, and reforms within international trade organizations like the World Trade Organization, WTO, could provide mechanisms to ease tensions. However, achieving these solutions requires political will and a shift away from populist narratives that emphasize short-term gains over long-term stability. If leaders on both sides can recognize the mutual benefits of cooperation, there remains hope for restoring balance to transatlantic relations. One potential avenue for compromise is the establishment of new trade frameworks that address the concerns of both parties. The European Union could work with the United States to develop fair trade policies that ensure mutual economic benefits without resorting to protectionist measures. This would involve renegotiating tariffs, removing trade barriers, and fostering an environment that encourages investment and innovation. Additionally, aligning policies on technology, intellectual property rights, and labor regulations could create a more stable foundation for economic cooperation. Another critical factor in resolving these tensions is the role of multinational corporations. Businesses operating in both regions have a vested interest in seeing an end to the trade war. Lobbying efforts by major industries could push governments to reconsider their approaches and prioritize economic collaboration over confrontation. If influential economic players advocate for policies that promote open markets and fair trade, political leaders may be more inclined to seek diplomatic solutions rather than escalating trade disputes. Ultimately, the fate of the transatlantic alliance depends on the ability of both sides to navigate these economic disagreements without allowing them to overshadow decades of cooperation. While the current trade war presents significant challenges, history has shown that economic conflicts can be resolved through negotiation and diplomacy. The United States and the European Union must recognize that their shared interests far outweigh their differences and work toward restoring a partnership that benefits both economies. As the world watches this unfolding economic conflict, the question remains, will the Western allies find common ground, or will they continue down a path of division that weakens their collective influence? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: the decisions made in the coming years will shape the future of transatlantic relations and determine whether the alliance remains a driving force in global affairs or fades into historical significance.